Disclaimer. Some of our content varies per video and may not be suitable for younger audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Also, in some content, we are critical of the video games, books, music, videos, and other creators on the platform. While we are a group-owned channel, our opinions expressed are solely on our own and may not always reflect the opinions of those associated with this channel. We at Novakast do not condone any and all harassment, IG, cyberbullying, doxing, swatting towards any of the people that we may be critical towards. How's it going, everybody? Rob here, back with another video. And, well, we're going to be doing another video. Another reaction. This time, however, yeah, we're going to focus on, what's her name? For the life of me, I cannot remember her name right now. But, this is going to be on Feminist Frequency, Nia Sarkeesian, so this is going to be interesting. So let's go ahead and get right into this. This is Women as Background Decoration, Part 1. Okay.
Sorry, all booked up. Too bad too, because I would have given a stud like you a free sample.
Okay. Are we just going to focus on more of the dystopian characters in terms of women as background characters? I mean, in a sense, I mean, I'm going to let the video play and then I'll save my piece. Anyway, here we go. Okay.
This episode includes game footage of hypersexualized female characters, as well as extremely graphic depictions of violence against women. As such, this particular video comes with a strong content warning and is not recommended for children.
Wait, is this the one with the Hitman thing? I'm kind of curious if it is.
As always, please keep in mind that it's entirely possible to be critical of some aspects of a piece of media, while still finding other parts valuable or enjoyable.
Yeah, but you can't be dishonest about it. That's the point. I know I keep harping on this, but you can't be... You can be critical about something, but at the same time, you can't be dishonest by the content as well as the behaviors of the people that consume said content.
In November 1971, the year before Atari's Pong became a sensation, an oddly shaped fiberglass video cabinet appeared in pinball arcades in the United States.
Okay.
That game was called Computer Space and holds the distinction of being the very first commercially sold video game ever made. The coin-operated machine allowed players to fly a crude, pixelated rocket ship while shooting down pixelated flying saucers.
I mean, it's... Let's be honest here. I mean... Not as if you would get anything out of that, but it's like, come on. I mean... With how old that game is... I mean, Jesus Christ, you're really going through that? Okay.
Promotional materials for the game, however, featured a woman standing passively next to the enclosure wearing a see-through nightie with her underwear visible underneath.
Okay.
This advertising strategy of using women and representations of women as decorative elements to try and sell games to boys and men soon...
I mean, isn't... I could be wrong, but isn't there a female character right there too? I mean, what's the point of harping at the advertisement, really?
It became the norm for the burgeoning industry. In ad after ad throughout the 80s and 90s, we see women placed on display alongside arcade games.
Okay, I can understand with some of these, but like, let's say with the Contra one. I mean, come on. I mean, back in the day, especially with movies like Alien, for instance, you had Sigourney Weaver, who was a strong female character. and more so had close to the same hairstyle and body type, right? So why would you harp on that? Like, I mean, when I see the Contra, I mean, I think if anybody sees the Contra, I mean, granted, I mean, she looks attractive, but let's be fair here. Overall, you just see a strong female individual, you know, advertising a Contra game. This one, I'm like, this makes no sense whatsoever. But anyway,
the two and presenting them both as toys to be played with. In these promotional materials, advertisers are not just selling a product; they're also selling gaming as a lifestyle, in which women predominantly exist as passive objects of heterosexual male desire. These ads contributed to an emergent culture in which women were thought of as ornamental and peripheral to a male gaming experience. And since women were largely already seen as incidental eye candy, it's not surprising that when female characters started being introduced to more game worlds, their roles tended to follow similar patterns.
okay.
The practice of using hypersexualized women as ornamental objects has been especially brazen in the racing game genre. Notice how the camera moves, how it focuses on and zooms in on specific body parts to highlight the aspects of women meant to be the most important.
I knew you couldn't resist, yo!
I define the women as background decoration trope in video games as the subset of largely insignificant, non-playable female characters whose sexuality or victimhood is exploited.
Hold on. A subset of largely insignificant non-playable characters whose sexuality or victimhood is exploited as a result to influence edgy, gritty, or racy flavoring into game worlds. These sexual, objectified female bodies are designed to function as environmental texture while titillating presumed straight male players. I don't think that's ever... I mean, if I see a random NPC, I'm not going to focus on them. I think a lot of other people aren't going to, especially if we're playing GTA. It's funny that you actually use an image from GTA, considering that a lot of us, you know, we're going to focus on, you know, the mission at hand, or what's going on. I mean, they're just random NPCs, right? It's kind of... I mean, so, do you... It's... With what you're... Like, I'm trying to, like, understand the logic. So are you just... Do you not want female characters in games? I think that's the biggest question, like, really.
Exploited as a way to infuse edgy, gritty, or racy flavoring into game worlds. These sexually objectified female bodies are designed to function as environmental texture, while titillating presumed straight male players. Sometimes they're created to be glorified furniture, but they are frequently programmed as minimally interactive sex objects to be used and abused.
Okay, that's God of War, though. Come on.
In gaming lingo, the secondary characters populating the...
And let's be fair here. And she could probably guess with God of War 4 and 5. I'm you know, God of War and then God of War Ragnarok. They did mature on... They didn't even have any of that in the recent God of War games. Which, you know, shows how much, you know, the character himself, Kratos, has kind of matured. And plus he has a kid, so, you know...
The virtual environments are referred to as NPCs, short for non-player characters or non-playable characters. These are figures not directly controlled by the player, and whose behaviors and dialogue are governed by automated scripts within the game's code.
Yeah.
NPCs can occupy a wide variety of supportive, neutral, or non-combatant roles, all with varying degrees of importance or levels of engagement with the protagonist. They can be pedestrians, shopkeepers, quest givers, party members, or sidekicks. However, for the purposes of this trope, we're only concerned with one very particular type of non-essential female NPC, those specifically designed as a decorative virtual sex class, who exist to serve as straight male desire. I classify this subset of characters...
I'm pretty sure women find that attractive too. You may, it's kind of insulting that you are just assuming only men would enjoy this.
...characters as non-playable sex objects. Non-playable sex objects can usually be found on the sidelines of role-playing or open-world style games, populating the many virtual strip clubs, red light districts, or brothel locations that have become almost obligatory in many so-called...
So hold on. So, I'm gonna turn off the thing for... So, you reference
Non-playable
GTA,
sex objects can usually be found on the
The
sidelines
Witcher,
of role-playing or open-world style games, populating the many virtual
DSX,
clubs, red light districts,
Yakuza,
and brothel locations that have become
Hitman,
almost obligatory in many
and Mafia.
so-called mature types.
Okay, so hold on. So, few of the examples that you've just used is in reference to games that are mainly where you the player play as the criminal. And in a sense, these games either make fun of or bring to light some of the disgusting situations involving, women and that kind of work. You do realize that, right? I mean, and in quite a few of those areas, it's a dystopian area, a dystopian time in terms of like setting. So, like, what's the point?
Titles. Such characters are programmed with crude, looping, sexualized behaviors or dialogue as a way of adding an extra layer of seedy flavoring to game.
That was Darkness 2.
Hey, sweetheart. You wanna play with me? You're a lot cuter than the regulars. You like it, huh?
That's Fallout.
Unlike other NPCs that exist for
Metro.
purposes outside of their sexuality, non-playable
Just
sex
Cause.
objects have little to no individual personality or identity to speak of,
I'll make you wail like a banshee, baby.
and almost never get to be anything other than set dressing or props in someone else's narrative.
Okay, so I want to point out something real quick. So Watch Dogs. This is another example of a situation where it's showing something that is completely freaking disgusting. Okay, so this mission in particular that is being that is mentioned or showcased is basically a mission in Watch Dogs where you have to infiltrate a area to get in contact with somebody, and the area in question is basically a sex trafficking ring. Now, after this particular mission, you go after and collect information on the various sex traffickers, and in hopes to try to get them arrested. And sadly, unfortunately, I'll say this. When I saw this, I was disgusted with some of the characters that they used as NPCs, as the quote-unquote sex traffickers. There was one guy on the phone that I think anybody who would listen to his dialogue, you would just want to in the game. And I did. I will say, I'll say this. I will, I'm not ashamed of it. In terms of sex trafficker, I mean, yeah, no, he in the game, I got rid of him. And guess what? It marked me down for points. But I still did it because, you know what? The guy was a disgusting bastard and I freaking did it. This stuff right here, again, the game itself is showcasing, what's wrong, and you go after the fuckers that are doing it. I think with quite a few games, it does showcase, things that are, in a sense, not great, but overall just disgusting in terms of how women are treated. Now, I should also point out, too, that, as a game, as well, it's not real. I think that's the biggest thing, is the game itself is not real. So...
This is the essence of what sexual objectification means. And since that concept is at the heart of the women as background decoration trope, let's take a moment to define it.
Okay.
As the term implies, sexual objectification...
Are these terms that she made herself? I'm very curious about that.
Objectification is the practice of treating or representing a human being as a thing or a mere instrument to be used for another's sexual purposes. Sexually objectified women are valued primarily for their bodies or body parts, which are presented as existing for the pleasure and gratification of others.
So, but in the games, if you see somebody who's, in that kind of work, I mean, especially with GTA, I mean, you're not going to be hyper-focused on that. You're more so just going to be focused on doing the mission, doing the job, whatever you're doing. I mean, hell, currently I'm playing GTA Online. I mean, video prior to this one, literally, I drive around, in that game, I literally drove around it was more so a casual episode, but overall, got a new car, freaking checked out some of my businesses, and basically did prep work for a new business in that game. Did I focus on any character that was, an NPC that was a sex worker? No. Because even though it's in there, it's like, I'm not gonna focus on that. I like, why would I fucking focus on that? Seriously. Like, I don't get, like, what's the, she acts like, oh, this is the, like, all men are, like, a desire, and, like, dude, I'm just gonna play the game. It's a random fucking NPC character. Why the fuck should I care?
In some games, sexual objectification is fused with the exotification of impoverished women of color. In Far Cry 3 and Max Payne 3, for example, straight white protagonists explore shanty towns located in the global south, populated by prostituted women.
This goes back to what I was saying before. I mean, overall, it shows the sort of dystopian areas that you are exploring in the game. And unfortunately, how bad it is. That's storytelling. I mean, it's not, again, and I hate to gripe on this, but it's not fucking real. It really isn't.
I'm lonely. Want to play? You like what you see, I can tell.
No.
The sexually subservient Asian prostitute trope also permeates urban environments in games like Binary Domain and Deus Ex Human Revolution.
Come to Haysha for a good time? Here I am.
Oh, hello, honey. Looking for a good time? I can give you a good deal. Too bad you have friends around. I'm not into group thing. Come around.
Here's my question, and I think this is the obvious one, because I mean, it was brought to people's attention that she stole people's video. So is this content from somebody else's playthrough, or is this her actually doing this? That kind of begs the question, is she is actually the one doing this?
Oh, next time. I might even give you freebie to make up for it.
Love you long time, soldier.
Suivez-moi, G.I. Give you good time.
These women speak in broken English, and their minimal dialogue is designed to invoke shades of sex tourism-style exploitation. Scenarios like these are part of a long racist tradition of representing women of color as mysterious and hypersexual creatures who exist as an exotic spice to be consumed by the white or Western man.
If you are looking for something a little more exotic, you will find what you seek with me.
By the way, games set in the United States are not exempt from this kind of racist exotification.
Sick of people saying no? Not here, baby.
Oh, baby. Maybe tonight I'll give you a little taste on the house.
These scenarios place men in the driver's seat, so to speak, and sell us the notion that men are always sexual subjects, while women are largely sexual objects. Incidentally, this trope also exists in games that may allow players to pick a female avatar, but the presence of a woman inhabiting the role of protagonist, even if well developed, doesn't do anything to negate the fact that non-playable sex objects are still specifically coded to pander to a presumed heterosexual male ego.
What? Hold on, I gotta replay that. What the fuck? I mean, if you're a woman and you're playing the game, I mean, does it, like, what? No, of course. It just means that they're fucking balanced. Oh my god, this is so stupid.
Objects are still specifically coded to pander to a presumed heterosexual male ego. Sexual objectification is, of course, ubiquitous in mass media of all forms.
Good, baby. Real good. Now, show me those luscious pink lips.
But since video games are an interactive medium, players are allowed to move beyond the traditional role of voyeur or spectator. Because of its essential interactive nature, gaming occupies a unique and potentially more detrimental position vis-a-vis the portrayal and treatment of female characters.
Oh god.
A viewer of non-interactive media is restricted to gazing at what the media makers want them to see. Similar to what we might see in video game cutscenes, the audience is only afforded one fixed perspective. But since we're talking about interactive gameplay within a three-dimensional environment, we need to consider the fact that players are encouraged to participate directly in the objectification of women through control of the player character, and by extension control of the game camera. In other words, games move the viewer from the position of spectator to that of the participant in the media experience. On a very basic level, we can think of non-interactive media as engaging audiences in forms of passive looking, while video games provide players the chance to partake in forms of active looking, or active observing.
Is this
The
like
opening
just made up
moments in
terms
Darkness 2,
for...
for instance, teaches players how to operate the game's control scheme by instructing you to actively objectify women in the environment.
Hey, Jackie, check out the rack on the brunette to your right. No, your other right.
Level designers also have a...
I'm pretty sure it's... I mean, let's be honest here. I mean... It's... I mean, with the darkness, I mean, you're playing as a freaking mob boss. I mean... And you have... the other characters you interact with are mobsters. Oh my god. I mean, why?
Suspicious tendency to build stages in which players are required to walk through brothels, strip clubs, or women's dressing rooms.
Okay, this was like the if this is still this is still the Darkness 2. There was only one brothel brothel. There's only one brothel in this game. And again, this goes back to like, you know, what I was saying earlier, because in context, you're playing, so in this particular segment, you're trying to get information on a particular group that wanted to have Jackie Estacado dead. It brings you to this brothel, who is being run by that said group called the Brotherhood, who is quested, or has this quest to try to claim the darkness power and use it to conquer the world. That is, and it's made very clear from the characters that you interact with, especially some of the characters that you have dialogue with, that women here end up going missing, or basically missing or dead. And it shows how bad this place is. You feel sorry for these characters. In a sense, it's like it's trying to elicit an emotional response, not just trying to titillate you. I mean, fuck's sake. It just seems like Anita Sarkeesian doesn't know anything about freaking, just, you know, storytelling or anything.
I can make all your dreams come true.
In order to advance the story. In the case of the Saboteur, the protagonist's home base is located inside a burlesque club, which conveniently enough, you can only enter via the women's changing area.
This ain't a hidey hole. This is heaven.
Huh.
These active viewing mechanics encourage players to collaborate with developers in sexual objectification by enabling gamers to scope out and spy on non-playable sex objects. Since we're discussing the intersection of objectification and interaction, we also need to consider some more direct aspects of objectification that are not as applicable in traditional mass media.
Okay.
Building off of philosopher Martha Nussbaum's work on objectification theory.
Just out of curiosity. Martha... Martha Nussbaum. Okay, let's see. Martha Nussbaum's work has sparked controversy primarily regarding her views on emotions, particularly anger, and their role in social and political discourse, as well as her approach to religion and her views on the #MeToo movement. She advocates for a more nuanced understanding of emotions, arguing that while anger can be a catalyst for change, it should not be the primary driver of social movements, and that forgiveness and reason are more productive in the long run. Her views on religion, particularly her criticism of anti-religious activists have also generated debate. Additionally, her analysis of the Me Too movement and its aftermath, particularly her critique of call-out culture and the lack of institutional accountability, has been a point of contention. So, going further, Newsbomb's work is often categorized by its engagement with complex social and political issues and her willingness to challenge prevailing norms and assumptions. This has made her a prominent figure in contemporary philosophy and a frequent target of controversy. Okay.
I've identified a number of fundamental aspects of objectification, including instrumentality, commodification, interchangeability, violability, and disposability, all of which are commonly embedded into the gameplay mechanics and programmed behaviors of NPCs in modern immersive titles.
Okay.
Since instrumentality is a core component of objectification, let's begin there. In the realm of interactive media, I use the term instrumentality to refer to the practice of using virtual women as tools or props for the player's own purposes.
I'm terribly well informed about country matters.
What the hell?
Courtesans in the Assassin's Creed series, for instance, are available to be rented and used to help you blend into the environment. Once acquired, they can be ordered to flirt with guards to distract them.
Alright, go.
Allowing
I mean, is that with every game, though? I mean, and is that the point of, like, in terms of, like... I mean, it first started with 2. I mean, let's be fair here. I mean, well, no, technically, in terms of stuff like that, it really started with 1, where after you have been able to help a certain amount of people in the game, or at least in the region, you'll have different masses of groups that you can use to blend in and hide from guards. In 2, it more so made it prominent that you could actually use some of these NPCs to interact with a guard nearby to distract them while you sneak in and complete your task. But that's been in almost every Assassin's Creed. I mean, isn't that the point of, like, being an assassin, or at least for these games, is to not be detected, to use what is necessary to complete your objective and kill the target? I mean, isn't that the point of... Isn't that, in terms of storytelling, isn't that approachable in terms of what you should be doing as an assassin?
the protagonist to slip by undetected.
Hello, not a real snake job. My solitude.
Hitman Absolution features a mission in which the player can create a diversion by picking up and dumping the dead body of an exotic dancer near police officers.
Oh, what the fuck? Oh, shit. That wasn't there a minute ago.
And there's other things you could have done. I mean, as far as I've been told, Hitman is a game where it's how you complete the task at hand. It all depends on you and your imagination. And depending on what's accessible to you, you're able to do whatever, really.
The first 3 games in the Saints Row series feature a recurring activity called Snatch.
Now, if you could bring me back some of them fine bitches who were turning tricks with other pimps, I'd be able to start seeing some real money. But I ain't asking for something for nothing. I mean, you help me out, I'll cut you in on what the bitches make.
These missions require the player to steal prostituted women, referred to as hoes in the game, from pimps.
Get away from my hoes, you little bitch!
What the fuck?
And then deliver them to a brothel or another pimp in return for a cut of their business. In these scenarios, instrumentality is heavily linked to the commodification of women. Since objects...
That's Saints Row, though. I mean, come on. Those games are... From what I've heard, those games are crap.
can be bought and sold, it follows that once women have been turned into objects, their bodies and sexuality can also be bought and sold.
I mean, doesn't that go back to the whole thing of, like, you know, either making fun of or kind of showing how bad a thing actually is? And again, it's just a fucking game.
Sexual intimacy is no different than any other commodity, friend. You sell soybeans, I sell companionship.
It's disgusting. That's the Bible talking, pal. That's your mother talking. What does Ryan say? Petty morality? You can keep it.
The 1996 game Duke Nukem 3D
Oh, God.
allowed players to interact with female NPCs by paying them to flash their boobs.
Shake it, baby.
That was almost 20 years ago. Today, games where the player can buy a lap dance or prostituted women are commonplace.
What kind of dance would you like, sweetie? Tell me, don't be shy. I'm quite imaginative.
Oh, God.
Hey there, sugar. I'm Dazzle. What can I do for you? Or to you? You're so handsome, I might just give you a discount.
Care for a little fornication?
Don't worry. You'll see I'm worth every one of those 100 gold pieces.
Here they are. Aren't they beautiful? Remember, 30 silver up front. Go ahead and choose then. Well, for you, a room and some company will run you 120 caps up front.
I got something extra special. Why don't you buy me a present and I show it to you?
Sure, why not?
Is it hot in here? I can feel my temperature rising already.
In both Sleeping Dogs and the Grand Theft Auto franchise, buying and using prostituted women for sex rewards the player with power-ups, stat boosts, and or health regeneration.
I may just have to find a new job. You know what they say about coming with the customers.
Which means that these women fulfill basically the same function as the beverages the player can purchase from vending machines and convenience stores in these games. This is a textbook example of another component of objectification, referred to as fungibility or interchangeability. Newspawn explains this as occurring when the objectifier treats the object as interchangeable with other objects of the same type.
Okay, hold on. Objectifier treats the object as interchangeable. But here's the question, is every gamer going to be doing that? No, they're not.
And or with objects of other types. Since these women serve an identical or nearly identical resource function within the game space,
Get in, baby.
they're created to be interchangeable with any other female NPC of the same type. A fact reinforced when developers simply copy and paste the same character models into various locations throughout the environment. A line can be drawn from the crude, sensationalized misogyny of Duke Nukem
You wanna dance?
directly to the most recent installment of the blockbuster game series Grand Theft Auto, in which players are rewarded for touching women after purchasing a private dance. This touching mechanic is essentially a minigame, which involves the player groping a stripper to fill their like meter, without being caught by the bouncer. If that wasn't bad enough,
Hi, sexy.
the player is then rewarded with sex, as a dancer will go home with your character for successfully fondling them.
Good lord.
Follow me, honey.
These games systematize sexuality in ways that dehumanize women, essentially turning them into vending machines dispensing sex, along with other goods and services.
I don't like that, like how she said that, like using them as vending machines to dispense. Like, come on. You think every person's gonna be doing this shit? Come on, seriously? I mean, clearly she did, considering she made the video.
Their worth as characters is measured entirely in terms of what they can give to the player. Since these women are just objects, there's no need or reason for players to have any emotional engagement with them. Meaningful relationships or interactions are not even possible. Their programming simply does not allow for it.
Then again, it's just a game, and I know that sounds, for some people that sounds bad, but really, I mean, if you can't separate reality from fiction, I mean, come on. Like, anybody who's playing video games aren't going to treat women like this in the real life. It really, I mean, what the fuck?
When men are depicted using female NPCs as tools or commodities, their actions are portrayed as part of what makes them powerful, which is by extension part of what makes the player then feel powerful. So these interactive algorithms transmit cultural messages of near constant affirmation of male heterosexual dominance.
Not really.
While simultaneously reinforcing the widespread regressive belief that women's primary role is to satisfy the desires of men.
No.
Either literally or voyeuristically.
Que guapo. What's your name, senor?
Oh, yeah, you might be too much for some other guys, but not me. If I can handle 2 chicks at once, I can certainly handle you.
Ooh, is it getting hot in here or is it just you?
This is especially sad because interactive media has the potential to be a perfect medium to genuinely explore sex and sexuality. But that's not what's happening here. These interactions...
I don't like that. Hold on. Explore sex and sexuality. Like, what the...
...transactional relationship, in which women are reduced to a base sexual function. It frames female sexuality as something that belongs to others, rather than as something women enjoy for themselves.
Here's something that I want to bring up too, because I said it before in like one of the earlier videos that we did this. It's like you got to putting this in the mindset is more than likely you're gonna have women that are also going to play these games. So is it wrong for women to be doing this? In the event that, like, you have people like actually doing this shit, like actually just playing the games just to do this kind of shit to women or NPCs, like, are you going to, discredit or like try to shame women who are doing the exact same thing you're claiming men to do? I mean, that's the genuine question.
I'd argue that none of this is really about sex at all. Certainly nothing resembling authentic consensual intimacy. Publishers and developers are instead selling a particular fantasy about male power centered on the control of women.
No.
Of course, we can't really...
I mean, with a lot of the cases that you've shown, I mean, unfortunately, a lot of them are more of a dystopian era, or you're in games where crime is the main focus, and it overall showcases or makes fun of what's going on in real life.
Really talk about sexual objectification without also addressing the issue of violence against women, since the two are intimately connected. Once a person is reduced to the status of objecthood, violence against that object becomes intrinsically permitted.
I don't like the fact that she keeps, like, if we're gonna play this game, I don't like the fact that she's like trying to claim that, just classify the characters as objects. They're not. I mean, in any sense, like character. I mean, regardless of in terms of like the NPC or who they are. I mean, let's be fair here. The NPC is not a quote-unquote object.
In many open-world or sandbox-style games, developers construct their virtual worlds in such a way as to enable players to directly abuse non-playable sex objects.
Yeah, but in a lot of these games, you get punished for it. A lot of these games, it's basically made apparent that you should not be doing this shit. And it kind of begs the question again, this begs the question if she's the one that recorded these bits to kind of make this point, in which case she's the one ultimately doing this.
This ability to violate the bodily integrity of eroticized women for fun highlights two other insidious aspects of objectification, those being violability and disposability. Violability occurs when, as Newspawn points out, the objectifier treats the object as lacking in boundary integrity, as something that it is permissible to break up, smash, break into. Players are often permitted to knock out, pick up, carry, and throw around inert female bodies. And depending on the game series, the programmed options for interaction can include assault, mutilation, murder, and everything in between.
I'm not sure you can afford what I'll do to you.
Some games explicitly incentivize and reward this kind of behavior by having murdered women drop bundles of cash for the player to collect and add to their own stash.
Okay. Oh, jeez. But again, that's GTA. I mean, if you shoot somebody, you're gonna get freaking you're gonna get the police after you. That goes back to my previous point. I mean, if you do things like this, I mean, the game has its moments where you do shit like this, where you're being violent to the NPCs, you're going to get a negative freaking reaction to it. Yeah, you hear in the background, in case you guys can hear in the background, you hear the police thing. Right now, the thing is red. It's going to turn red and blue. That shows that the police are off after you. So there is no. I mean, overall, there is. You're not unless you're done. I mean, at this point, especially if you just stand there. I mean, you're not going to get away with it. again, a lot of these games, they try to discourage players from doing shit like this to characters that are that are just random NPCs.
The dehumanization caused by objectification inevitably leads us to the concept of disposability, which is defined as something designed for or capable of being thrown away after being used or used up.
Hello, miss.
Hey, mister. Is there anything of yours you'd like to stick into something of mine?
The protagonist in the critically acclaimed Red Dead Redemption doesn't agree to buying sex. Instead, the game allows players to lasso, hog-tie, and carry away prostituted women.
Usually I charge extra for this, honey.
Okay, look. So, right here, again, if you commit a crime and are spotted by civilians, you will become wanted if they tell law enforcement. So again, there's checks and balances if you do things like this. The game doesn't just allow you to do it and it's okay with it. It has checks and balances of you doing these things and then getting negative ramifications for it. My God, this freaking, she's so dishonest.
There's an easier way you can have me. I ain't expensive.
Who continue to suggestively proposition the player even while being held captive.
Hey, mister. Is there anything of yours you'd like to stick into something of mine?
The game also rewards players with a special achievement trophy called Dastardly, which is unlocked by placing a hog-tied woman on the railroad tracks and then watching as she is splattered by an oncoming train.
Jesus.
When assaulted by the player...
I mean, hold on, but isn't that a reference to the old school, black and white films where you have the freaking... that you have... what's it called? Where it's basically starting the whole damsel in distress trope.
Playable sex objects might scream,
I need help!
Cower,
Oh no!
run away, or occasionally offer some form of perfunctory resistance.
Again, a lot of these games have checks and balances if you do shit like this.
But regardless of the canned automated reaction, they're all designed to be expendable, to be used up and then tossed out.
Oh god!
I think it's kind of disgusting that, that she acts like players are going to do, all players are going to be doing this shit. Or at least a lot of them are going to be just, out of their way to play video games to fucking do shit like this to women. It's not correct. It's not correct whatsoever.
Their status as disposable objects is reinforced by the fact that in most games, discarded bodies will simply vanish into thin air a short time after being killed.
That was weird.
Note that this kind of misogynistic behavior isn't always mandatory. Often it's player-directed, but it is always implicitly encouraged. In order to understand how this works, let's take a moment to examine how video game systems operate as playgrounds for player engagement. Games ask us to play with them. Now, that may seem obvious, but bear with me. Game developers set up a series of rules, and then within those rules, we're invited to test the mechanics to see...
I mean, it just made my point. It's like, a lot of times, when it comes to games, they have set rules. If you break the rules, then you are punished for it. What's the point of making this argument? It just tears up some of the things you were just saying.
See what we can do and what we can't do. We are encouraged to experiment with how the system will react or respond to our inputs, and discover which of our actions are permitted and which are not. The play comes from figuring out the boundaries and possibilities within the game space. So in many of the titles we've been discussing, the game makers have set up a series of possible scenarios involving vulnerable, eroticized female characters. Players are then invited to explore and exploit those situations during their playthrough.
Okay, look again. So, in terms of you playing Hitman, this is Hitman, or Hitman Absolution. So, he just hit that woman. Again, I'm pretty sure that it was probably Anita Sarkeesian playing this, or somebody in her crew playing this to do this action. But she hit, so the Hitman hit the woman, and he lost money for it. Literally, it punishes you every time you do something that goes against the directive of you playing as the Hitman. It's not that fucking hard of a concept. It doesn't encourage this shit.
The player
Again,
cannot help but
lost
treat
money.
these female bodies as things to be acted upon, because they were designed, constructed, and placed in the environment for that singular purpose.
I'm pretty sure that was you. I'm pretty sure that was you, Anita Sarkeesian, or anyone from your crew doing this shit. Because again, in any other scenario, you literally could just avoid these characters. That's the point of being a hitman, not to be detected. To take, just like Assassin's Creed, not be detected. You know, deal with every situation possible in the with the least amount of bodies, and deal with the target. That is exactly what these games are about. It punishes you when you deal or damage or kill or do anything to characters that don't fit the directive.
Players are meant to derive a perverse pleasure from desecrating the bodies of unsuspecting virtual female characters. It's a rush streaming from a carefully concocted mix of sexual arousal connected to the act of controlling and punishing representations of female sexuality.
I gotta ask, how many people actually did this shit? Playing this game? Like, I gotta ask that. Because this is just so fucking dishonest.
In-game consequences for these violations are trivial at best.
They're not trivial. Fuck off.
Rarely lead to any sort of fail state or game over.
Now, if I remember correctly, because you're referencing Fallout here. I mean, overall, that ruins your charisma. Bad charisma makes less people trust you, and more likely to, attack you in the event that you start, acting aggressively towards other characters. So in the long run, your charisma goes down.
Sometimes areas may go on high alert for a few minutes, during which players have to lay low or hide before the game and its characters forget that you just murdered a sexualized woman in cold blood.
We gotta get out of here!
These temporary game states are implemented so that acts of violence against NPCs committed by players do not inconvenience or interfere too much with the core gaming experience. High alert serves as a faux punishment that doesn't ruin the fun, and is in fact actually designed and intended to provide an added rush to the game experience, as players try to avoid or mow down law enforcement AI.
Good lord.
Hey, gorgeous, jump in.
Returning to the Grand Theft Auto franchise, you can buy a prostituted woman, use her for sex, gain the health and stat boost, then murder her to get your money back.
You want me? Kill me!
But again, you guys can see it. I mean, she barely shows it, but it's there. You got a star showing that the police are after you. And in the event that, the police catch up, they can attack you. So there is a negative ramification for you doing this crap. Yeah.
If caught by the police, the screen will fade to black, and 5 seconds later, your character will be standing outside the police station, minus a few dollars or items, but free to go about your business as if nothing happened.
Yeah, it's a fucking video game. What the fuck do you expect? I'm sorry, it's so fucking stupid. It's a fucking video game.
Other popular sandbox games employ similar character revival methods. In this way, these systems work to facilitate male violence against women by turning it into a form of play.
Not really. Again, a lot of this shit's discouraged. A lot of people, okay, I'm gonna say granted, you're gonna have that sick fucker that's gonna be doing this shit. But really, every person is gonna be doing this. No fucking way.
Something constructed to be amusing and entertaining. Now, inevitably, whenever these game mechanics are criticized, some gamers try to dismiss and distance themselves from the issue by insisting that they don't personally partake in the provided
Wait, hold on, go back? What the fuck did you okay. Inevitably, whenever these game mechanics are criticized, some gamers try to dismiss and distance themselves from the issue.
Gamers try to dismiss and distance themselves from the issue by insisting that they don't personally partake in the provided options for exploiting virtual...
Overall, I don't partake in that. That's not... that's not an issue. I don't fucking partake in that shit. What, am I bad for not doing it? What the
women. But whether or not an individual player chooses to use an object for its intended purpose is irrelevant. Because
sure.
The object was still designed and placed in the game environment to fulfill its function.
Or it's, you know, again, storytelling, and God knows, everybody knows you fucking hate storytelling. You don't even know what a fucking trope is. I mean, good God.
Toaster is still a toaster, regardless of whether or not you choose to make toast with it.
Yeah, and just like this video, no matter how much sugar you put on a piece of shit, it's still going to be a piece of shit.
Still designed for the express purpose of toasting bread, and it still communicates that fact even while sitting unused on your kitchen counter. Likewise, a sex object is still a sex object, regardless of whether or not you personally choose to use and abuse her. And that fact, in and of itself, still communicates extremely regressive ideas about women.
I mean, overall, I mean, again, it's I think overall, in terms of the storytelling itself, I mean, like I said, numerous fucking times in this video, and oh my god, that freeze frame, but, a lot of the examples that you have shown showcases areas, or at least games, where it's more of a dystopian area. Or so, you have games that are basically satirizing particular tropes in real life. GTA is the perfect example of satirization of real life tropes. But overall, I mean, and in terms of like, how women are treated in video games, especially in, like, let's say brothels and stuff like that, I mean, in terms of treating women like objects, and beating them, disposing of them, and whatnot. Again, that is treated in a way where if you do it, you will have negative ramifications for your actions. It's not just ultimately fucking encouraged. It's in there, sure, but at the same time, it's not something that it's just, hey, go out and just kill 20 freaking hookers. You don't fucking do that.
Indeed, nothing about the design, behaviors, or mechanics associated with female characters that serve as background decoration encourages or engenders any sort of human empathy. In fact, quite the opposite. The rudimentary algorithms governing interactions lead the player to interface with these characters in ways that can only be dehumanizing and exploitative.
Oh, fuck off.
As sexual automata, they don't have any individuality. They don't have their own stories. Players are never supposed to...
They're NPCs in a game that isn't even real.
Identify with them or care about them outside.
I know that sounds bad, but I mean, seriously, it's an NPC.
On the outskirts of humanity, placed beyond the reach of empathy by their creators. Typically, all the non-essential characters in sandbox-style games are killable, but it's a sexual
just like any other player's killable.
Brutalization is gendered and eroticized in ways that men never are.
What? Oh my god! No. I mean, by the end of the, especially games like Deus Ex, freaking GTA, or any other game, any of the games are basically an equal target to, the player. It's not it's none of this freaking sexualization as any is claiming. Again, it's in terms of particular NPCs, they're in those games, but at the same time, if in the event that you do something to said character, there is some form of ramification or, misstep or freaking whatever that will affect the player.
Language attached to male NPCs is very different, since they're rarely designed to be sexually inviting or arousing. And they're not coded to interact with the player in ways meant to reaffirm a heterosexual fantasy about being a stud.
Need a massage? We're one of the few properly licensed clinics in town.
Sounds good.
Is it your back? Or your shoulders? How about your legs?
There do exist a handful of games which include a few male gigolos, though they are extremely rare.
Here they are. Aren't they beautiful? Remember, 30 silver up front.
Santiago is here to please, my prairie flower. Just a few caps, and I'm yours.
And more often than not, the design and characterization of these sexualized men...
Okay, that's Saint Jarrell.
I'm even nicer without all these clothes on.
I wouldn't mind taking a bite of you.
But even if sexualized male NPCs were more prevalent, equal opportunity sexual objectification is still not the solution to this problem, especially considering the existing power differential between men and women in our society. Women are constantly
It's funny you say society. I mean, in terms of games, I mean, again, it's a game. It's not real. I mean, if we're gonna talk about actual objectification to women, look at some of the third world countries instead of actually looking at a few pixels. I mean, Jesus Christ.
represented as primarily for sex. Men may be sexual too, but they can also be anything else. They are not defined by or reduced to their sexuality, and their sexuality is not thought of as something existing chiefly for the pleasure of others. Which means the fundamentally dominant position of men in our culture is not in any way challenged or diminished by the rare male depiction as sex worker. All the forms of interactive engagement we're discussing in this episode, the act of looking, the instrumentality, the commodification, the violability, and the disposability, are embedded in the DNA of some of the most popular video game franchises.
Good Lord.
So whereas in traditional media, viewers might see representations of women being used or exploited, gaming offers players the unique opportunity to use and exploit female bodies themselves. This forces gamers to become complicit with developers in making sexual objectification a participatory activity.
An activity that a lot of people, I mean, in the event that, you get that odd chance of somebody actually doing it, then again, very, very odd chance, it's just gonna be that one fucking weirdo. Not everybody's gonna be doing the shit that you're claiming them to do.
You're gonna rise up singing. Don't you cry.
So why does any of this matter? What's the real harm in sexually objectifying women? Well, the negative impacts of sexual objectification have been studied extensively over the years, and the effects on people of all genders are quite clear and very serious. Research has consistently found that exposure to these types of images negatively impacts perceptions and beliefs about real-world women, and reinforces harmful myths about sexual violence.
Bullshit.
We know that women tend to internalize these types of images and self-objectify. When women begin to think of themselves as objects and treat themselves accordingly, it results in all kinds of social issues. Everything from eating disorders.
I think in terms of current day issues, I think that's more of a situation in terms of how women are treated.
To clinical depression, from body shame to habitual body monitoring. We also see distinct decreases in self-worth, life satisfaction, and cognitive functioning. But the negative effects on men are just as alarming, albeit in slightly different ways. Studies have found, for example, that after having viewed sexually objectified female bodies, men in particular tend to view women as less intelligent, less confident, and disturbingly express less concern for their physical well-being or safety. Furthermore, this perception is not limited only to sexual...
I mean, at this point, I will say with this video, I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, you're making assumptions. This video basically makes assumptions of how people interact in terms of video games, how they're going to play video games, and in turn, claim that they're bad for playing said video games because X and Y. But overall, you don't really understand why players play video games, and it's throughout these videos, it's continuously shown. I mean, in terms of in terms of storytelling and anything narrative-wise, absolutely nothing in terms of storytelling, in terms of character design and so on. And in terms of some of the examples you've shown in this video, you seem to be very dishonest in terms of displaying certain things that, again, ultimately in a lot of these games would have gotten you in trouble in regards to the rules of the game.
Sexualized women. In what's called the spillover effect, these sexist attitudes carry over to perceptions of all women as a group, regardless of their entire activities or professions. Researchers have also found that after long-term exposure to hypersexualized images, people of all genders tend to be more tolerant of the sexual harassment of women, and more readily accept rape myths, including the belief that sexually assaulted women were asking for it, deserved it, or are the ones to blame for being victimized.
That's bullshit.
In other words, viewing media that frames women as objects or sexual playthings profoundly impacts how real-life women are perceived and treated in the world around us. And that is all without even taking into account how video games allow for a more participatory form of objectification that we've been discussing in this episode. Compounding the problem is the widespread belief that, despite all the evidence, exposure to media has no real-world impact. While it may be comforting to think that we all have a personal force field protecting us from outside influences, this is simply not the case. Scholars sometimes refer to this type of denial as the third-person effect, which is the tendency for people to believe that they are personally immune to media's effects, even if others may be influenced or manipulated.
And who are you to tell me what I'm immune to or not? I mean, who are you to tell me or other people who play video games how we act or how we shouldn't, how we act or assume how we act in video games or with other people?
Paradoxically, and somewhat ironically, those who most strongly believe that media is just harmless entertainment...
It is. And I don't know why I did that. Okay.
Also the ones most likely to uncritically internalize harmful media messages.
Bullshit.
In short, the more you think you cannot be affected, the more likely you are to be affected.
You're not. You really aren't.
Please join me for our next video, in which we will continue our discussion of the women as background decoration trope by examining the growing trend of exploiting sexual violence as a plot device in game narratives.
Oh, good God. It's gonna be a while since we actually do that, but anyway, that was that video, and Jesus Christ. Again, in terms of like a lot of the examples shown in this particular video, you have a lot of the examples are either, again, in a dystopian setting, or more so than not, have either satirized or showcased the harmful effects in terms of like some things involving women. It's overall, I'm trying to gather my thoughts because this video is just it's just a dumpster fire. Especially with, like, Anita Sarkeesian trying to assume how people, like myself and many other people who play video games, are when it comes to playing said video games. Like how we're actually going to play the game in terms of, like, you know, dealing or interacting with NPCs. Which, her little display is utterly disgusting. And it's just, honestly, very dishonest in terms of, like, you know, what goes on in those particular games. Again, games like Hitman, where, in a sense, you can attack characters, but at the same time, it punishes you for doing said actions. So, overall, these types of actions are not encouraged. You can do them, yes, but at the same time, they are not encouraged, and will punish you if you do said actions. But anyway, I think for now I'm going to go ahead and end this video. This is a long one. This was a very, 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 very long one. So thank you all for watching. Truly appreciate it. If you guys can, please like, comment, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. If you guys want to follow us on social media, links are in the description down below, as well as check out our daily content and the weekly podcast. With that being said, this is Novakast signing off. Have a good one. Take care, and I'll see you guys next video.